more people ought to love Putin.
Hello and welcome to episode number 30 of Unrelenting, June 10th, 2022. How are you, Gene? It's a beautiful day in Chicago.
Is it now?
Well, it is. I think so. I'm Darren O'Neill. He's Sir Gene of Sir Gene Speaks. And it's a beautiful day. I mean, it's not too warm. It's not too cold. The sun is out. The liberals are still in the air. A lot of
That's
lead, too.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. A lot of lead, too. So what's been going on this week?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. I've been maybe a little bit light on the news on my end.
There is not, unless you want to keep renewsing the same old stories over and over again, because, Ukraine is still a thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It kind of is, I guess. Although it sounds like there isn't as much rah-rah going on.
Yeah, it's kind of falling. It seems to be, it may just be the attention span of people is like, oh, we're used to stuff just like being a day or two, and then we've moved beyond it. Although,
move on to the next story.
I thought it was interesting, because I told you my wife's addicted to Lego, and that was something she picked up under the whole COVID thing when sitting at home and doing nothing.
Right.
They just are coming out on the first of the month. So July 1st, they're coming out with a new roller coaster, and they have a bunch of different, of course, series. And
I thought you were going to call it a monkey paw coaster or something.
Maybe, but it's a big roller coaster that's like $400, and huge roller coaster. I think it's like 3 feet high. But if you look this thing up, the colors of the roller coaster are the colors of the Ukrainian flag.
Of course they are. What else would it be?
I don't know how long this roller coaster's been in the pipeline, but that was the first thing I noticed. It's like, well, that's like blue and gold. That looks like something
familiar.
Yes, exactly. Which may just be perfect marketing to be like, well, people seem to have a good vibe to this blue and yellow color stuff. So maybe.
Right. Well, they've added the Ukrainian flag to the rainbow flag now.
It's in the rainbow flag?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've added teal and yellow. Canary yellow.
So straight Ukrainians are now gay? What is?
Yep.
I don't know what that means.
It's an all-inclusive flag except for straight white men.
Right.
So therefore, Ukrainian Nazis are now part of the coalition.
We have to be inclusive, except for the white guys. White guys are horrible, man.
Only American white guys, though.
Okay, that makes sense. So European
Nazi
white guys
are okay.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We're a dying breed, no question about it.
Well, a lot of people would like to hope so.
Yeah. They're trying to kill us off. January 6th. I didn't even, the interesting thing was I knew that was on last night. I had no interest in watching it. And the fact that none of the crazy liberal news sources are really covering it much today, I'm guessing it was a total flop.
Yeah, it seems like that's a standard these days for them.
It's like, we're going to go to prime time and run a special to do what? To be like, we really don't have anything. We just don't like Trump. And the only thing I saw was a comment that Donald Trump said something like Mike Pence should be hung. And I think
is hung? Did he say he was hung or he should be hung?
That's a really good detail.
Distinction.
And one puts him right in with the LGBTQ flag, and the other maybe not. But the fact that words now have to mean exactly what they are defined as, that nobody, I guess, can use the words to make a point. How many times when we were kids, you'd be like, I'm going to kill you. Did you ever really intend
that to anybody?
How many? Yes, you did. How many times?
Not at all. No, I would. That would let them know ahead of time.
What was your? She laying in wait, like, no, never tell your enemy you're going to kill them.
Of course not.
Let it be a surprise.
That's
and let it wash over them as their last breath exits their lungs.
I mean, you wouldn't want to get picked up by the cops for threatening something, would you?
Well, back then, that wasn't considered a threat. When we were growing up, saying to somebody, hey, I'm going to kill you, man.
Well, fair enough.
Was like meant to be like, I'm mad at you. Now it's like if you
lighting a fire on their backyard or something would these days be considered some kind of criminal act, I suppose.
It's bizarre. There was a case in New York where a little clinic type thing that provided both information on abortions and information on adoptions. I guess that was still too right wing, and a left wing group firebombed it. And I'm not seeing that on the mainstream news.
But are you saying that they warned them that they were going to, or they threatened to firebomb them first, or they just did it?
No, they just actually firebombed them. No threat. And then this liberal
that's
group
the proper way to do it.
Took responsibility. Right. So they're doing that part in the right way. The liberal group took responsibility for it.
Was it PETA?
No, it was something called Jane. Like Jane Says or something, like maybe Jane's Addiction fans. I don't know. And I didn't really understand the concept, but it's like, yeah, you can't disagree at this point without being an enemy, which is really a bad state for the world because people disagree.
Well, that's
everything.
The policy that Biden ran on, I believe. He's going to be the most, in fact, divisive president we've ever had.
No, he said he was going to be the most uniting.
People, what?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure if you read the news histories these days, you will see you are incorrect.
Well, I mean, that is exactly what he's done, but that's not what he said. It may be what he meant. Because he certainly didn't.
That's what I heard.
He's right. Well, if you have, you may be from the future where like in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you have the Babelfish, which it just takes the language and does the instant translation. You may have the Babelfish.
1984 version of Babelfish.
Right. That takes the lie and turns it into the truth so you can hear what they really mean. Now that would be a kick. Can you imagine having that ability? And just
I can imagine it because it's not that hard to imagine.
Breaking down what percentage of the time do you think I think you have to separate it a little bit, but the average politician as opposed to the average citizen, what percentage of the words coming out of their mouth are lies for each of those groups?
100%.
For both sides, right?
Yeah, correct.
Well, that is also the problem with social media because we realized immediately when you look at sites like Instagram and Facebook, everybody's lives overall is perfect, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're going on great vacations. They drive in great big cars, flying private. And then the reality that you find out is none of that's true. Everybody's doing their own reality show.
I think, to be fair, you're just making a lot of assumptions.
Of course. That's what we do. We're podcasters.
Because not just you per se, but people, because really, it's not that they're flying private. It's that they're renting time on a grounded airplane. Private.
Yeah, to take a photo.
Yeah. And just because they're smiling, it doesn't mean they're happy. It just means that they want to look nice.
They may be demented.
I don't know if I would go that far. Maybe they may be. I don't know that you could tell from their video.
That is the trick. But that's where everything's a lie. Everything online's a lie, which is when the government's like, we're going to have a disinformation board. It's like, you're going to be busy. You're going to be really busy. It is interesting.
It depends, I guess, on what you consider disinformation.
Everything.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, of course, now it's interesting to me that the left spent so much time going after Donald Trump for words he said or didn't say in relation to the January 6th thing. I think this is going to come back to bite him in the ass over this nut job showing up with weapons outside of a Supreme Court justice's house. People are now starting to look at all of those things the people on the left said about, oh, yeah, go protest, go get in their face, go do this.
Right.
It seems like everybody should just be locked up. All politicians should be locked up and the rest of us can go about our way.
Well, I mean, that's probably not a bad idea, but I think a good first step would be to not reelect people.
Right. But why does that keep happening?
Well, it keeps happening because that's what the majority of the population wants.
Is it? Or does the majority of the population has been so checked out now that they figure
but that's
it doesn't
the same
matter?
Thing. You can't, that you don't,
right.
You don't lose your responsibility because you choose to not care.
You're right. The ultra liberal district attorney, what's his name, Chessup Bodine or something, and all I hear is like that's Jethro Bodine from the Beverly Hillbillies, but Chessup Bodine recalled in ultra liberal San Francisco, and I would say that may point to a awakening, but the next guy is going to be just as bad, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
So what did that really accomplish? It's going to take a little more than that. It's going to take.
Did you say Jethro Bodine?
Well, Chessup, isn't it? Isn't his name Chessup Bodine?
I don't know.
It's not Jethro, but I always hear Jethro Bodine, so I may say that because that's what I hear when they talk about the guy.
So, so who's going to be running then if he got?
I don't know who's next if the district attorney gets pulled. I'm guessing, and this is just me because I have no idea, but that there will be somebody put in place in the interim until another election can happen. Because you have to have somebody, I guess, be a district attorney. I mean, you can't just have.
Think so.
It's like otherwise, all criminals just keep doing what you're doing. We'll get back to you in a few weeks.
Right.
That's the United States, though. That's where you want to be if you're a criminal, because everything that's being done lately is to give criminals a good time. You come into the country illegally, we'll help you. We'll fly you wherever you want to go. If you make it over the border, we'll put you on a jet and take you to Philadelphia. We'll take you to Chicago. We'll take you wherever you want to go. It's great.
Well, we are the country of opportunity.
This is true. And it's really the opportunity of being a criminal and not going to jail. The stats
would be a good deal.
When you see how many people that commit gun crimes in New York was the stat I saw the other day that were already out on bail or no bail in New York for another crime is like 90%.
That's right about.
If you want to get rid of gun crimes, you got to get rid of the criminals. But they don't want to get rid of the criminals. They want to take the guns. So that just shows you how disingenuous again. And that's another dead horse, but it is so disingenuous.
But it's easy to get rid of the guns, and it's hard to get rid of the criminals.
Right. No, it's the other way around.
Is it though?
There's like 400 million guns, I think, in this country right now.
But criminals have to actually be found or created by the FBI.
Well,
one
true.
or the other.
But guns have to be found too.
Oh, that's easy. You just tell people, go turn in your gun or we're going to put you in prison.
That never works.
Doesn't it though? It worked for Hitler.
They did it in Canada.
Worked for Mao.
Well, see, the people that are willing to, if
it's going to work in Canada.
Well,
it already worked in Australia.
It may work in Canada, but only if the leadership is actually willing to kill the people they find with guns, which I believe happened under, Hitler. I mean, you disobeyed that. You weren't getting a long trial. You weren't going out on bail. And that is the one thing, again, if you want a polite society where people respect the laws, there has to be punishment if you don't respect the law.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also keep in mind that the, as the saying goes, if we want to boil a frog, I guess, you don't put them in hot water. You put them in cold water and you slowly warm the water up until it's boiling.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
And Grumpy Old Ben's.
Have you now?
A long time ago.
What's that?
It's a podcast, kind
Not
of.
familiar.
It had the reunion tour last Sunday.
Oh, a bunch of old rock and rollers pretending to be young again. Great.
I know. I wish young and pretty with a lot of hair.
Mm-hmm.
You were the only one who knew that was our whole marketing bit, was just tell Gene, tell nobody else.
Yeah.
And It was an interesting live show. I thought it was fun. I thought there was some snappy repartee going on. You
should have let people know when it was, not just me, because I was busy. I didn't listen to it.
That's good. We talked very nicely about you.
Did you know? Now I know you're lying because your lips are moving.
The most interesting thing, though, was yesterday going to look at the stats, and that episode, 4 times more popular than any of the other episodes I've done on other shows for the last year.
You've built up enough anticipation.
0.
Not talking for a year.
Right. Well,
it makes people go, oh, so this is finally going to be the last one. I better listen.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I thought. Like, is this going to be...
You're ready to go up into space.
It's like, this is going to be the train wreck. There's going to be... See, although it was already on tape, so I don't know if you could say that people thought it was going to, if it was going to be a rage quit, because you would have known if it was a rage quit if it was live. But my favorite
part... Too late to be a rage quit. That already happened.
Right. That was like a year ago. My favorite part of the whole ordeal.
I still don't know what the hell he did to you that you quit like that.
I didn't quit. I keep doing shows.
Is that what both of you are saying now? Okay, got it.
You see me. I never stop. I keep going. I am unrelenting. Really. I mean, everybody says.
Yeah, you just locked him out of his house. I get it.
They say everybody's, I'm unrelenting. Gene's just here. He's just here for the fun.
Uh-huh.
Where is
what else is there other than fun?
Well, that's, we all do everything for fun, isn't it?
I think so.
It's just in the hopes that you, don't die while having the fun.
Well, sometimes it does happen.
That's true. But my favorite part...
Hopefully not today. We're going through the cloud layer right now.
Of the whole Grumpy Old Ben's reboot was the send-off or the intro we got at the end of No Agenda.
Oh, from John mainly.
Yes. And if you didn't hear that, I mean, I can play that. It was beautiful, though.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and play that?
Up next, we've got live on the No Agenda stream, Grumpy Old Ben's, the 2022 reunion tour.
Oh, my God.
Darren O'Neill and Ryan Bemrose.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was... I don't know. I think JCD was going to have an aneurysm there.
I think that you almost killed the man. You ought to be careful.
Well, see, at one point he promised to come on the Grumpy Old Ben show.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably thinking he might have to do that now. So that's, he might have to finally come through like, oh, it's back. I don't know. But a lot of people listened. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. And
that's good.
It is. There was, it's that snappy back and forth. And you have a drier sense of humor. And this is the most interesting thing to me because now, doing podcasts with different people, I said to Larry, which I know you can't listen to that show because both of our voices are way too deep.
I just couldn't hear anything.
But I said to Larry, I'm like, there's a different interaction between Larry and I. And it's like, he's not the kind of guy that I'd be like, oh, fuck you, Larry, you're wrong. But with you and Bemrose, that's easy enough to do. And that's, when I had him on as a guest on my show, I think that was exactly our interaction. See, and it works.
Yeah.
I think people like that little bit of the odd couple. They like that little bit of the contention. And maybe that's the problem with Larry and I is that we both like each other too much. And you don't have that. You don't have that same thing. Somebody called the Planet Rage program that I do with Larry the Feel Good podcast of the No Agenda stream.
Yeah, the name is a complete misnomer.
I know. We're trying to get the rage out.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get you to get your rage out.
If you try to explain it to somebody, it's probably not going to work.
True. I mean, how do you explain this show?
Oh, it's really easy. Okay. I do a show with a guy in Chicago who's been a wannabe DJ his whole life.
Hey,
and
only
I give
a few
him
years.
Stuff to talk about.
Only a few years. And the DJ part still is the most fun.
I know. That's what you enjoy. You like the doing the, we better go to our next, there we go. Yeah, you enjoy that part, which is great. Let me deploy this. There we go.
It's DJ Talk Radio. You playing games again?
Are you not watching the screen?
No, I never watch the screen. When will you learn?
It's really cool, man. We're flying a rocket right now.
You may be
And
flying
if
a
we're
rocket.
If we're lucky, it will not crash back down to Earth.
Oh, well, is this a virtual game that you're playing, but you're controlling a real rocket?
I'm actually controlling a real satellite launch right now.
Is this hooked up to Sputnik? Is this like a Russian thing? Are you?
Yes. Sputnik 3. I'm launching Sputnik 3.
Wow. I mean, I knew you and
That's
Vlad
a great idea.
I knew you and Vlad were buddies, but I didn't know you could have just control of
Right.
any of those toys and play with them as you wanted.
Oh, I can totally do that. Let me just rename this to Sputnik 3. There we go. Now
Blue
it's
Douche says
official.
we should rename the Monday show to Planet Gay for Pride Month. No, that's different.
Yeah, you should do that. I agree.
Does
Maybe that'll get
Unrelenting
you
work?
some listeners.
Yeah. How do you gayify Unrelenting?
Oh, this show is super gay already.
You can't make this show more
No.
gay.
I'm talking about Larry. You should do that with.
Right. Well, I mean, your beard puts us right over that top. I think that's.
Why didn't that not work?
Do we need the Soviet march again? Is that
Couple.
what we need here?
Activate engine. There we go. That's more like it.
Would you like to play Global Thermonuclear War, Professor
No, I'm
Falcon?
good, thank you.
Joshua, what are you doing, you naughty boy? He's trying to find the launch codes.
The launch codes.
I still love that movie, War Games.
I haven't seen that movie for quite a while. I remember what's her name was in it?
Ellie Sheedy. Good old what's her
The
name?
one?
Yeah.
Well, she was in every 80s movie that had a teenage audience
She was in a lot, yeah.
because that's what they were using to snare the teenager.
Then Molly
Audience to watching
Ringwald and Jennifer
Oh,
Connelly.
dude, Molly Ringwald. Oh boy,
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
more into
like
the redheaded Molly.
big time.
Yeah, I would say there's
Big
nothing
time.
wrong with Molly, yeah.
No, she left for was it Scotland or Ireland after that? She'd been living there forever.
Maybe after 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club
I think in her early to mid 20s she left.
Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, all the John Hughes.
And really, some of the best damn music in any movies ever.
Well, the 80s had the best music, period.
Well, I know you believe that.
That's true. I've listened to plenty of music.
And there is a lot of very memorable music that came out of the 80s. And I think we have lost that with the current string of everything kind of sounding alike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some artists that I still like and I appreciate.
Taylor Swift.
Like Taylor Swift, sure.
Mhm.
But I can still pop off way more different sounding hits from more bands from the 60s, 70s, 80s than I can out of Taylor Swift. You know, it's not like the songs are as standalone, if you will.
Do you know that Barry Manilow was gay?
Yes, I
did not know that.
I've known that for a long time. New people in the
Did you
music
know
business.
that Elton John was gay?
I've heard that. I've
Jesus,
heard that.
there's all this videos on YouTube, and now for Gay Month they've got like go find your favorite gay person videos, and
Is that what they call it?
I don't remember what they call it. It sounds something to that effect. And
Go
boy,
Gay.
a lot of artists seem to be gay.
It seems like that, yeah. Barry Manilow, I mean, that guy could sing. Copacabana. I write the songs, which of course he didn't write. There's the irony.
Well, the guy who wrote the songs wrote the lyrics, I bet,
Yeah, the guy that wrote the song, Bruce Johnston.
about himself, and then can't actually sing.
Well, not a lead singer, but he's been in the Beach Boys for decades
Right.
and decades.
But it's a song about writing, not about singing.
Correct.
He didn't say, I sing the songs that,
Right. I
Make
just
the world-
write the songs.
yeah.
I played Pac-Man with that guy. It was a lot of fun.
Did you know?
Back when
And were you any good at Pac-Man?
when I was 10, so I was decent. But
Well, how'd you play Pac-Man with him when you were 10?
Beach Boy concert at
Oh.
the there was a venue
You
here
were
which
so bored you want to play a video game.
no, the
Oh.
next morning at like 6 or 7 in the morning, I got
Mhm.
up because this was at Maryville, Indiana, which has the Holodome big thing attached to
Mm.
the venue where the concert was. So I just got up and the arcade was closed, but the Pac-Man machine at the bar by the pool, so not like going into a bar, but right on poolside. I sat down, start playing, and he's just like, "Hey, can I play?" He sits down, chatted for a bit. I kicked his ass in Pac-Man.
That's good to know.
Sent a little like $1.95 book, How to Win at Pac-Man, to his record label. Was it Brother Records? Something like that was the Beach Boys record label. And got back a signed double album in the mail saying, thanks for the book. So it's like that.
And that's when little Darren decided, I'm going to collect albums.
Pretty much.
Because I'll be able to get free ones with autographs on them for the rest of my life.
And that didn't work. But that one was really cool. Much. That was the best $1.95 sent off in the mail for...
I bet.
For anything. But you never know who you're going to run into. Although today, can you imagine a 10-year-old going down by themselves, unattended in the morning while their parents are just sleeping in the hotel room? Now you'd get kidnapped.
I'm starting to think that never actually happened in the past either.
I'm assuming it did, but I think we lived in a different society where people weren't so self-absorbed in their phones. I'm betting you could probably kidnap a kid with his parents standing right next to him because they're all looking at their phones going, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, all three of them are, yeah.
Uh-huh. Like you have to be aware of your surroundings when you're out and about.
Well, that's why the parents want to have the police protecting their kids.
Right. And then they want to disband the police. Wait, and that's confusing.
But the police actually want to keep the parents from saving their kids when there's a shootout.
Yeah, that
doesn't make any sense then.
That was a no bueno situation. And then there's the complaints about the drones that they can make that have tasers on them. Mm-hmm. Our buddy CSB, he was against that idea. I'm like, I think that's a great idea that you can have this in schools and classrooms where if there is an active shooter. Yeah, taser drones.
Well, it'd certainly keep the kids in line.
That would be an extra added benefit. The teacher could be like,
the main reason to do it.
You sit down, little Jimmy. Otherwise... you can't
trust the teachers with obviously tasers. That's no good. So you have to have drones piloted by minimum wage security guards that would keep the children.
Well, see, the beauty of the drones to me would be we're living in a connected world. You understand that the drones that are flying over dangerous places in the Middle East, they're being flown by people like in Florida.
No, in Nevada. Yeah.
Okay. That's the point. You're doing it from across the world. Mm-hmm. You can have the same concept here. You can have just
I'm literally flying a satellite right now.
See, there you go. Say hi to Vlad. I hope he's feeling okay.
Yeah, I don't know why you think the satellite talks to Vlad, but your thing.
Isn't that how the whole world works?
Yeah. Well, we're just crossing the Atlantic right now.
See, now I am imagining that you're one of these folks that or maybe you still do this, when Airplane Simulator came out, and I know Microsoft's had a big one. There's a few other ones, but
yeah, there's the Flight Sinclair Simulator 1000 one that came out in 84, and then the Microsoft one came out in 87.
Now, were you one of the people that set that game up? You got your monitors, and then we're like, I'm going to fly from New York to Paris. And then sat there for the 8 hours.
Crashing into the Chicago Sears Tower.
You were looking for me?
No, it was just really hard to fly.
Like, I just can't control this thing.
Well, in the original Microsoft Simulator, the default airport was that little frickin' strip.
Oh, right.
In Chicago on the lake.
Meigs Field.
Yeah, Meigs Field was where you started from.
Which plane bigger than like a Cessna should ever go onto that.
But that was your starter plane, was a Cessna. And so if you get lucky enough to actually take off at about 1 frame per second, you will eventually be getting closer and closer to Sears Tower. Whatever it's called now. I don't know. What do the kids call it these days?
It's the Willis Tower now.
The Willis Tower. For what you're talking about, Willis.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, clearly. And that's a pretty view of the Earth. I do like looking at this thing.
People want to send you into space, Gene, so we could just start a donation drive.
Well, I would be happy to start a donation drive for that.
We do take live boostergrams, by the way. We are podcasting 2.0 compliant. That was the
That's
first.
right. We proved that last time.
That was, last time we didn't have the live, because the first live show I think I did was the rock and roll pre-show. And then we did live Grumpy Old Ben's. But now if you're using CurioCaster or Podverse, you should get a little thing saying, hey, live show. And when you pop into the live show, you can stream sats while listening live, and you can boost, and you can send boostograms.
Let me ask you a question. Is anybody actually listening to this show?
Is anybody actually listening to the show? Yeah, there's a few.
Are there?
I mean, I can tell you right now with certainty.
Are there more or fewer people listening?
There are 70 people on the stream, which would lead me to believe there's about 40 or so active listeners.
Okay. Gotcha.
That would just be a guess. I was
thinking more in terms of like the podcast itself, but
live.
That was good.
Well, on the stream.
How about not live?
We are live right now. Not live.
Not live.
How many people are downloading? It's in the 1,000 range. Sometimes a little above.
Is it going down or up?
It's been pretty steady.
It's the same people.
Planet Rage is catching up.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you get less for Planet Rage?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have the legacy audience here because we kind of shared that more with Grumpy Old Ben's. Although now, when donations are coming in for Grumpy Old Ben's, it's a question of where that goes. We're getting live donations. We made more live during the Grumpy Old Ben's than we have in the past few weeks here combined. So,
wow.
I'm just saying. We have NetNed says, I love Unrecovering with Daryl and Sir Jeans.
Unrecovering. That's even better. Yes.
Yeah. We are unrelenting.
Go to Unrecovering.show. Make a donation right now.
Exactly. Well, if there's somebody there, they deserve it just out of the,
of course,
just out of the, is that where did you set it up?
Yeah.
But to me, see, this is the one thing that
Karen starts to worry about me getting money without him.
Well, I noticed there were some Satoshis in the other Grumpy Old Ben's feed that had the trailing slash. So it's like you have to be careful with all of this stuff. When you're using things like Satoshis.stream, this whole thing has led me to one result, and that is I'm going to set up my own node and just get a Raspberry Pi and do that, because this is also how podcasting for people like me and you who are so pretty that we don't want to do video.
We did video. No one gave a shit.
This concept, though, of the app telling you when a show goes live, I think that is the game changer. And it's only in a couple of apps, but they are adding to more and more. And the apps that are using it has proven that this works.
Well, there's one little problem, which is, who are we doing this show for?
Anybody who wants to listen.
Right. And who is going to be able to listen in the U.S. on a Friday morning?
Anybody that wants to listen? I mean,
not at all. Only people that have no jobs and no money.
No, it depends.
No, nobody else. Nobody that's working right now is listening to us.
So you're saying it's only a bunch of derelicts that are listening? Like nobody,
pretty much.
Nobody,
have you not figured this out?
Nobody that has a job can listen to anything while they work. I've always done that when I worked.
No, not at all. What kind of a job are you doing that you can sit there and listen to a live broadcast?
I managed a flooring
truck driver,
store.
Maybe?
No, managed a flooring store in the office.
Flower store. There you go.
Flooring.
Now that's a job. Flooring store, even better.
Right. You want to get laid,
the
your
flooring
tile
store.
Yeah.
And so clearly you weren't actually working.
Well, I was sitting there doing, billing and waiting for the phone to ring and playing solitaire, whatever.
Exactly. If the alternative is playing solitaire, yes, you could be listening to us.
Empress Emily says she's a homemaker and that is work. Absolutely true. Are you saying?
Are you getting paid by anybody for that homework?
Wow. Sir Gene at sirgene.com is who you want to send your hate mail there to.
There's no hate mail here. I'm just stating a fact, which is a live show broadcasted this time in separation from the podcast being available on demand at any time.
So when No Agenda has 1,800 to 2,000 people listening on a Thursday morning.
Oh, these are the people that don't have jobs out of the 5 million that listen on the podcast itself who have jobs.
I don't know about that. I mean, the only way to know is for the donations during the show to just overwhelm Gene. But of course, then he gets half of that. So that's maybe your evil genius plan. I don't know.
Sputnik 3 is approaching the maneuver. This would be interesting.
I think you may be a wee bit addicted to video games.
It's not so much a video game as that I'm trying to multitask,
Well, but see, your podcast portion would be much better if you actually were trying to podcast and say things that were witty and insightful.
Oh, should I start being witty? Is that what you're?
Yes. Can you start? Is that a possibility that you could start being witty and insightful?
Uh-huh. Oh, I think it's a possibility. All right. It's just not working.
It's not. Just the Sputnik system is it's down.
There we go. I know it's wrong. A little too much.
I mean, that's true. That's a good point. Emily says
so
maybe
I think,
you just don't want to podcast early.
Nothing against people that are listening live right now, but it's the same thing on radio. When are the radio ads expensive to buy? Is it at 9 a.m. on Friday mornings?
No, it's like 7 to 9 and then 4 to 6. And
which is when you do your pre-drive shows.
It's like, hey, everybody,
clearly
welcome
you're
to the
getting
show.
more money on your music pre-drive shows than you would be on your talking show.
Yeah, but
because
reality,
you're doing those shows at a time that's more valuable.
Yeah, but the pre-show is doing really good, and that is now 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central. We are right
exactly
smack
the
dab
lunch
in the
hour
of
show.
day.
Of course,
So we're okay.
Literally the lunchtime show. Yes,
you're right. I've got the best time.
How have you
slot.
not thought about this?
I'm the lunch guy, getting you ready
you
for
are the
Adam
lunch
and John.
guy.
The
You ought
lunch
to be
guy.
on every day during lunch. You could quintuple your earnings.
I am the lunch man coming to you live.
Mm-hmm. You should do that.
The lunch hour.
You got nothing better to do.
That's true. The lunch hour with Darren O.
Yeah, I mean, you could call it the rock and roll lunch show.
The
rock and roll lunch show. There you go. I just gave you a title. And then just be on 5 days a week. You start making more money than Adam and John.
Oh, yeah. It's getting there. Theirs is going down. So, I mean, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Uncle Joe.
Well, why do you think theirs is going down?
Uncle Joe.
Mostly because people are donating to you now.
Right. That's it. That's we're totally
wait till you see the bill for being on the No Agenda.
We're the competition, right?
Boy.
All of a sudden there's there's a VIG for that.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, which is also the other great part when it all works of the podcasting 2.0 stuff, that everybody gets their cut. It's all automatic.
Uh-huh. We're about to fly over Australia.
Why? Are you dropping bombs on Australia? What are you doing? It's a penal colony, you know.
It is a penal colony. I do know that. I had an Australian dude named Ben on my show a couple of weeks back. I don't know if you listened at all.
I have a hard time listening to other shows. I mean, having time to listen to other shows.
Time to listen, yes, because you're doing your own show all the time. Exactly.
This is way too much.
This show is reminding me way too much of Grumpy Old Ben's at this point.
It is? How do you break that mold?
We have to have some topic to talk about instead of just bitching about things.
Well, then give me a topic instead of you flying a virtual Sputnik around the world.
Yeah, let's talk about spaceships then. That sounds like a good topic.
Real spaceships or virtual spaceships?
Either or. Have you paid attention at all to the schedule for the launch of Starship, the great big giant rocket down here in Texas?
No.
Oh. So it's been delayed a while. It was originally supposed to have, it's had a few, test flights of the actual rocket portion, but not the booster portion. It's supposed to have launched at the end of last year on its first launch. That kept getting pushed back. But it sounds like they've cleared now all the hurdles with the... I'm trying to remember who was giving them shit about that. If it was the FAA, I think it was the FAA. They're at war with Musk, basically. I'm not sure exactly why, but we're with Musk, and so they're trying to prevent him from being successful with his rockets.
Because they want to be successful with their rockets.
Well, at this point, he's basically said he's leaving Texas because of this.
So Elon just got there and he's leaving?
Well, he's building a new rocket facility in Florida where the climate seems to be better.
I can't blame him for that.
Well, it's the frickin' FAA. That's the issue. Their whole thing is like, well, you can't be launching rockets over where people are shrimping.
Okay.
That's so stupid.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Launch the rockets anyway, is what I say. So, consequently, this thing's been pushed back and back and back. So, probably now at this point, it's not going to be at the earliest until next month that we have that launch. This is going to be the first launch with the booster where the rocket is going to be flying, I believe, nearly around the world. So it'll be launched out of here, out of South Texas, and then it'll make close to a full revolution around the Earth, and then land back down around Hawaii.
Sounds like a fun ride.
It's going to land in the ocean.
Less fun.
Yeah. And then they're going to drag it back to Hawaii and then ship it back to Texas. So that's the plan anyway. I'll see how it carried out. But it's kind of got to happen soon because he's got a contract from NASA to send these things to the moon. You know that SpaceX was picked as the sole moon rocket company, right?
No, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. Everything else is being privatized, right?
Well, it was supposed to be privatized, but there were two other bidders, and SpaceX was the only one that could come in on budget. And the other guys didn't have their shit together, like Jeff Bezos, Penis Rocket Company. That's their actual name, I believe now.
Yeah,
Penis
the final frontier. Company. Get your penis in the air. That's Jeff Bezos. That's
Bezos, all right. And then the third one I actually kind of like because I think they had a neat device, but I forget what they're called. But they apparently were way over budget. So consequently, the only company that got the contract was SpaceX. And SpaceX is, they've been running people back and forth to the space station. And Boeing, who was the other competitor for that, had been having issues. And they just completed their first unmanned flight that kind of sort of worked, but not completely. They're way behind SpaceX, which has been doing this for coming up on 2 years now.
That is a bit of a head start.
Considering that they were the new kid on the block, and Boeing has been doing this shit for how long? And it turns out all the engineers no longer work at Boeing.
Well, Boeing is crumbling.
Gone. It is completely crumbling. That company is probably going to go out of business, is my guess.
Well, they're
sad because I've got some clothes from them.
Boeing was the one that I read are so bad now when it comes to the commercial market that they were considering going military only and not providing planes to the commercial flights anymore.
Wow. Yeah, that's a major move.
Uh-huh. I mean, because really, I know the government and military buys a lot of planes, but you would think there would be more planes involved in the commercial aviation.
There are, yeah.
And you would think those would be the ones.
Ragging, Adam's been ragging on them forever because of their plastic planes.
Well, one, they have to be durable.
Yeah.
I understand there's a balancing act to try to make these things as light and cheap as possible while staying safe.
Mm-hmm.
The safety is really important. You don't want the thing to crack apart and you to fall out of the sky. But you would just think there would be so much money
only
there.
an acceptable amount of times. But
well, true. I mean, one side of every now and then, that's fine.
Yeah.
You got to keep people honest.
Mm-hmm.
But the military is not paying you extra. I mean, although the military is probably overpaying so much for every plane that it makes up for every Saudi billionaire that wants a private jet totally decked out with, whatever.
Yeah, but I think plane companies in general are having that problem because I don't think Airbus is doing a whole lot better.
It's an interesting
And they
thing.
sure as hell won't be after Europe collapses. Holy shit. Airbus probably going to be tits up.
We want to go back to those halcyon days, Gene, of when nobody had vehicles.
Cars or planes. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the most natural thing, the most earth friendly you can do is to torture a horse for 20 years by riding it.
Did we talk on the last show? I don't remember when this story came out.
No, I think you talked to Bemrose about that.
It's possible that
I know we sound alike and you confuse us, but,
you are so much alike.
At least make an effort, okay?
That for vehicles, the latest thing was the tires of vehicles actually put out more pollutants, like 10 or 20 times more pollutants than the exhaust of the vehicles. I'm like, this is it. Everybody that's like, hey, no, we've got an electric car, we win. No, because soon it's going to be even the tires that you use are too much pollution and you can't drive your car anymore. You spend.
Now, explain the tire pollution to me. I'm curious about that.
I read the article multiple times and I still think it's a bunch of bullshit because the concept was as you drive, you're leaving little microparticles that are too small to even measure, which is why they aren't even usually been counted, that they're leaving behind these little
subatomic particles. Got it.
That are really bad for the environment, it turns out.
Because subatomic particles are bad. Got it. Okay.
This is, I guess, the concept. I don't know if this is.
I mean, if tires put a lot of pollution out there, my God, look at the hooves.
I know. We should
We
really
gotta get rid of animals.
kill all humans, kill all animals, and the world would be a much better place.
It would be without the humans and the animals.
Yeah, it would be a halcyon environment for plants to thrive. But that's the insanity of it. This concept that you think, oh, we've got electric cars and that's going to be it. It's like, no, the government still wants more power. You think they just want to take your guns and that's fine? They're never going to bother you about anything else? No. It never stops.
Mm-hmm.
Never stops.
So what do they really want?
Everything. All the power. Nancy Pelosi just got her husband, the drunken accident-causing moron, the charges dropped. It's like, what are the optics of this? That you could just do whatever the hell you want.
Mm-hmm.
And they're obviously a whole different class because we're just the poor people that have to do what they say, but they have no rules to follow.
Well, isn't that the whole point of getting into government? So you don't have the rules to follow and everybody else does?
Maybe. Why didn't I ever get into government? I'm not really sure.
I'm not even going to go there.
I should run. Where should I
You
start?
should run. Don't walk, run.
Yes, you're right. Well, and also then, if tires are putting off all that bad stuff, gym shoes, all those, your shoes are putting off stuff too.
Yeah.
But
I got to imagine the pollution coming from, yoga pants is pretty substantial.
Everybody should just walk around naked.
That would solve all problems.
It would create a few. It would create a few.
Well, there'd be more peace and love and orgies.
I'm not sure about that.
No? Why not?
Have you seen people?
I have seen people, but maybe then people wouldn't start, they would look less like people.
There would be less divisive things, maybe. Everything would be broken down to just the bare minimum.
Have you not watched the show Naked and Afraid?
No, I have not. I know what it is, but no, I have not.
Have you heard of the show? Okay.
Yes.
So it's a fake competition show about survival, where they pick a couple of outdoors enthusiasts,
People that think they can survive.
otherwise known as nudists.
Wait, I don't know. Is that what nudists are?
I said outdoor enthusiasts. What did you think?
I mean, really, if you're a nudist and an outdoor enthusiast, you're going to have to really get a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah. I don't even know if they give them sunscreen. I think they kind of expect them just to.
That's horrible.
Just not be in the sun.
There are places I don't want to burn.
I don't think you need to be too worried about those places.
I'm not sure about that. A little concerned.
I mean, just you got to think of the angle of the sun. That's all you got to think about.
Yeah, I know, but it's like a diving board. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, yours may be like the little Timmy the Turtle and never sees the sun.
I'm just saying there's a wee bit of shade coming off the old stomach on there. That's all.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Just lay face down. Yeah.
Based on your photos. But if we had to not worry about, I mean, like, who's going to do a mass shooting when they can't hide a gun anywhere?
Well, you don't have to hide the gun. You can still carry it, but if everybody else has nothing, not even clothes, how are you going to stop a guy with the gun?
Well, you probably with a taser that's flying around.
Yes, we need the drone tasers.
I think the drone taser idea makes a lot of sense, and I'm kind of surprised that they haven't just adapted military drone tasers to civilian school use.
Well, the problem, of course, is, it could be used wrongly. It's like, yeah, but so can guns. And see, we're taking an option in the taser that is less deadly. And this just shows you, again, the insanity of the way a lot of these folks think, that it's like, well, no, you can't even have the taser because that's bad. We want to get rid of all guns, and we really want to keep our children safe from school shootings, but a non-lethal drone taser, well, that's no good either because that's inhumane. But it's like, well, it would be there to protect your children. Do you not understand the concept?
Well, protect and encourage your children.
Encourage them to behave.
Yeah, of course.
An interesting article. This is the beauty of having the live audience, the troll room. The Hempress Emily M. sent an article that I've never saw this connection.
Hey, by the way, should I remind you to post a link to the YouTube version?
No, nobody watches on YouTube.
I beg to differ, but since you're on the stream and I'm perma-banned from the stream.
No, you're not. Why can't you get on the stream? There's no problem with you getting on the stream. It's IRC. Is it you're too old?
Perma-banned on there.
Your mind is too
get in there.
You can't figure out IRC anymore.
I've been perma-banned by.
There's no such thing as perma-banned. You can go to youtube.com and you can search for Unrelenting and you'll find us.
Oh, really? Have you tried that?
I believe, yes. I mean, I don't know if everybody has the same search results.
The damn link, dude. It's right there.
I don't have. You want me to put something up on the screen, I guess, because anybody in the troll room wants to go to YouTube.
Okay, there you go.
And let me see. Where's the screen that Gene's on? Is it in comments or no private? See, where are you putting this? I've got nothing. I've got nothing in private chat. I've got nothing in comments.
No, you click on the little snake logo on the top right, and it says view on YouTube. You click on that, and you copy the link.
You click on the little snake logo in the top right of what?
StreamYard.
I don't have that.
You don't have StreamYard?
I have StreamYard. I think I'm in
Oh, you haven't logged into StreamYard. Okay.
I think I'm just in listener mode or on the show mode.
You're in the participant mode who doesn't have a link to the actual thing. Okay, I'll post it in here for you. There you go.
I'll write Ned says this is not exciting to watch.
Well, somebody just said this is very exciting to watch.
Or not, he said.
Yes, well, what he meant is it's very exciting to watch.
I think you are quite possibly.
Believe me, this is way more exciting to watch than the two of us with green screens behind us.
No, the green screens are great.
Mm-hmm.
But the article that Emily sent makes a connection between the rap music industry and the private prison industry, which is we're encouraging.
Which one's
people,
driving which?
Right. Well, the private prison industry is investing in the rap music game because that is encouraging people to commit crimes, which wind them up into the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
This is right out of, conspiracy theory 101, but this is one of them where it's like, that makes a lot of sense.
Basically all the rap artists are sold out to the government.
Well, they don't really know because they just think they're being tough and they're being, the rap artist that they want to be.
I can't believe you're racism right now.
Why? It's not
you're
about
literally
race.
calling black people stupid right now.
What about Eminem?
The fact that they are unwitting participants in the prison racket game because they're not smart enough to realize what it actually is.
Well, it's because somebody that's funding them and they're doing the music they want to do. It's not like they're being told what to say. This is what they want to do, but they're being propped up by a group that's like,
now you're saying they're too stupid to realize that what they're saying is landing people in prison.
Well, I don't know if that's even too stupid. I think they understand it and they don't
explain
care.
to me how the Italians have managed to create a whole video industry of movies based around mafia. And yet they're not ending up in prisons.
It's a lot. Well, there are Italian people in prison, but it's a lot harder.
Oh, whoa.
It's a lot harder to start a new, family on, and to bring that up. It's a lot easier to be a rap artist. It's a lot easier to be just a, random
oh my
guy.
God. Now you're insulting musicians. It's easier to be a rap artist than to be in the mafia.
Yes.
You have you don't need any talent at all to be a rap artist, but clearly a lot of talent to be in the mafia.
Well, you need, you need to be a good shot. And as we've talked about, a lot of people
Are you sure about that?
I think so.
Have you watched The Sopranos?
Yes. Great television show. There's
not a whole lot of good shots there.
It is on my list of things to
before
rewatch.
It's canceled
and
permanently removed from syndication.
Well, I've got it locally. So there's that.
Oh, I see.
But I tried watching Archer.
Yeah. Archer. Everybody said you should.
I can't.
What?
I can't.
Why?
Because I hear Bob from Bob's Burgers and I can't get beyond that. It's the same damn voice. It's not even like they're trying to do a slightly different inflection.
Well,
it's
no,
Bob.
He only has one voice. What's
Obviously.
the guy's name? John something.
He needs a different voice. It's.
I don't think he's an actor. I don't think he knows how to do a different voice.
They shouldn't do that because it's Bob. It's Bob from Bob's Burgers, and it ruins it for me.
There is a crossover episode.
There's a Bob meets
there
Archer.
Is. Yeah.
Holy cow.
And he's married to Bob's wife or something, or he's cheating with her. Something like that. I don't watch Bob's Burger, so I didn't really pay attention, but there is a crossover episode. But,
I believe it, but I couldn't get beyond that. It was just like, that's all I hear it. That's what I see Bob. And the less things I watch, maybe the better.
Maybe. Well, fair enough. I guess it is what it is.
But it's an interesting concept that the rap industry was propped up in order
it's a great show, though,
to fill up the prisons. I mean, I'm sure it's a beautiful show.
And what other kooky concepts have you got for us to discuss?
I've got zero. I got nothing.
You just blew your whole wad on Grumpy Old Ben's show.
Yeah, right. Last Sunday, I've had nothing going on in the interim. I mean, I did another award-winning episode of the Random Thoughts podcast.
That is a good show. I do have to agree.
And I mean,
it's the right length.
I like the
and ultimately
45.
A solo podcast is actually what you really want, because that puts everything into a nice, concise bundle, the way the person's thinking, without any interruptions.
Less rabbit holes.
Well,
less tangents.
That's who the person is.
True. I mean, if you have multiple personality disorder, it could be a really entertaining podcast.
Well, some people have to control the rabbit holes by writing a script first.
True. Which Ryan talked about doing that on Angry Tech News, and I just couldn't. That is something that is not in my capabilities to do it, to totally pre-script something and then read it. I did a bunch of, and it took, a few times of starting and stopping with the latest Random Thoughts episode, because I read a bunch of quotes from the founding fathers and people that were around.
And you screwed them up
at that time. Right. Well, my eyes suck. So trying to read, that part is hard enough.
You haven't memorized them yet?
No. Oh. Even if I had perfect vision, I don't think I could do the reading thing and have it sound good. There's definitely a difference in the way people speak and the way people read, which is how you know when people are like reading a teleprompter and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a different way it is delivered rather than when somebody is just talking off the cuff. And I way more prefer talking off the cuff, going and, I do the research. You look at the topics, you get the information, but then you kind of just start the recording and you go without having a full script. Now,
that's certainly what Sir Gene does.
You just go. Yeah. We know that. And we're lucky there's the silence filters, so that can bring that down. And
yeah, there is a silence filter, but I find that I need to use that less and less. There's less and less dead air longer than 1 second in the show as I think dude named Ben has realized that he needs to jump in and not wait for me to finish.
Well, that's good. I can give him some pointers. You're very good at,
because you just talk right on top of me all the time.
Well, a lot of times it's like you've left enough space where any normal human being would have been done speaking, and the minute I start speaking, you continue where you were.
I'm just giving you time to process the thought that I generated.
Your thoughts are so big, Gene. They're almost as big as your beard, but
they're huge. Huge, I tell you.
Yeah, just big. I'm holding my hands way apart.
Mm-hmm.
MVC over on the YouTube says, any Ukraine-Russian news, loves Sir Gene's take on this subject. People do like your take on this, or they hate it, but I like it. So do you have anything?
I've banned most of the people that hate it at this point, so we're pretty safe.
You're like, don't listen. If you don't want to hear us talk.
If you're Polish or you're from Poland, you're probably not going to like the news.
Well, you think Russia should invade Poland now?
No, not at all. No. Poland is they've pushed forward with things that they've clearly not thought through, like the fact that they don't have any money. They're very gung ho on doing anti-Russian actions while using Russian energy. And the Ukrainians, because Poland has been so gung-ho anti-Russia, the Ukrainians that have left Ukraine have predominantly gone to Poland. And Poland does not have the money to have that many Ukrainians in Poland.
Well, the United States is sending money to Poland because,
It is. But the United States is also getting Ukrainians coming here as well now. So there should be some good food coming soon.
Well, that's that's absolutely true.
For ethnic food, yeah, like McDonald's. People that used to work in McDonald's in Ukraine are now coming to the U.S.
And they can work at McDonald's here. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, I don't know, man. I think at least here, the Mexican mafia controls all the fast food restaurant workers.
The Mexican mafia, I guess, if that's what you want to. But that's every kitchen that you'll ever go into.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Work at a kitchen unless you're speaking a little bit Espanol.
And no matter what type of restaurant.
Asian. I just had sushi, and it was made by
Mexican
guys
dude
that don't speak English. Yeah, or Japanese.
You go into any Italian restaurant, Mexican dudes, and ladies working in the kitchen.
Mostly dudes though.
Yes,
ladies. They're usually just cleaning tables.
Whoa. Okay, Gene at sirgene.com.
I'm making an observation about the inadequacy of American society. What do you trying to get people to say?
And of course, the irony is then when you go into a Mexican restaurant and it's some white guys in the kitchen, then you're like,
I think we're flying over Hawaii right now. Is what I'm thinking. Yeah, we're getting close to it.
You have way too much time on your hands. Give us your Ukraine take, though. People want the Sir Gene in-depth Ukraine.
Hawaii. We're going to get pretty close.
You'll have to let me know what's going on because Ukraine, looking at the mainstream media, still getting the same thing. It's either at the same time.
I thought they switched their playbook now to say that Ukraine's fucked.
No, the other day
I still saw saying more. It's winning. It's any day now they're going to win.
That Russia is taking massive damage
So I think a couple things. One is we're about to. We just had a conviction of 3 LARPers that went to Ukraine to want to play war. That were caught by Russians alive. And have now been convicted in the court system to firing squad. So they probably weren't looking for that as LARPers. But that's what they're getting. Lucky guys. I'm going to experience Call of Duty firsthand.
Right. Well, that's what they think. This is a video game.
Yeah. Well, they're just going to respawn after this, apparently. And the British government is going crazy trying to, because it's basically it's two Brits and a guy from, what was it, Portugal or Morocco or some, I can't remember where, somewhere else, but two Brits. And I don't think the Brits realized that they could end up dying as a result of their actions here.
You mean providing Ukraine with missiles that are going to be used against Russia?
Well, that's indirect, but these people were in Ukraine directly shooting guns at Russians.
And they thought that was a safe place to be?
Well, they thought that this would be a quick victory. That's what the news tells them, you see.
Oh, right. That the Russian army's a pushover.
It is. They're the worst army in the world, and Putin's basically already dead anyway.
I mean, today the headlines are a little different because it's all talking about the Trump thing again, which...
Oh, yeah. So we totally moved on from Ukraine, I guess, in the U.S. But anyway, so those guys just got sentenced to death for their crimes. The other news that was just announced is that the phase 2 of the special operation is complete. And phase 2 of the special operation is basically having a land bridge from Transnistria back to Russia. And that land bridge is along the coast of what used to be the Ukrainian territory.
Well, we know the big news is Putin comparing himself to Peter the Great. That's big news.
I don't think Putin's ever compared himself to anything. He's pretty...
he's a pretty much standalone guy.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, you could certainly say that Putin has been as interested in protecting Russia as Peter the Great was. Sure, you could say that. Peter Great, I mean, Peter the Great was great for a number of reasons.
Peter the Great, you sound like a kid doing a report at school. You have to do a report on Peter the Great. Peter
number
the Great
one, he was great.
His name
number
was
two,
Peter.
His name was Peter. Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But he was not necessarily loved by people the way Putin is. After the fact, I think he was like, but a lot of people died under Peter the Great carrying out his orders. And I don't mean military orders, like the city of St. Petersburg was built on a swamp, and it was a strategically built city to keep the Finnish menace out of Russia. And it was created on the delta of Lake Neva, which, if you think of New Orleans, but back in like before the United States was a country. So a city that celebrated its 300th birthday a number of years ago. And in that process, it was a city built basically by executive order or by, I guess, Tsar order, the ruler of the country's order. And so, we look at the number of people that ended up dying in the building of the Hoover Dam, for example. I can't remember how it's like 25 people died or something building Hoover Dam. But it's something like 200,000 people died building St. Petersburg. Because the way that you had to build this, so you're building a city on land that doesn't exist, right? It's a delta of a river. It's kind of a swampy area. And so the only way to do it is in the winter. So in the winter, you have horse-drawn sleds full of rocks that you pull out on the ice, on top of the ice, and then you unload these rocks over the course of several years to build out a foundation for the city, basically just dumping them, in the swamp, because you can't build something in the swamp because it'll shift. So you have to have good solid rock foundation. And a lot of people died because of starvation, cold weather,
Well, it's not easy work. They didn't.
Yeah,
have the
not
technology.
good working conditions in general. Yada yada yada. He was also. I'm like going down the list of his bad qualities. He was also famous for his dentistry. He learned about dentistry from the West when he spent time in the Netherlands. Incidentally, the Russian flag is based on. It was a flag I think originally created by Peter the Great. Because all he did was take the flag of the Dutch flag of the Netherlands
and reappropriate it.
Shifted the colors. Yeah, he really liked the Netherlands. I think he liked the brothels there.
Well, and the Stroopwafel. This just in: 96 workers died in the building of the Hoover Dam.
Okay, 96. There you go. Good update.
Thanks.
So Ned, your next task is to figure out how many people died building St. Petersburg. I may be way off, but I thought it was around 200,000. Maybe it's 20,000, but it was a big number. Anyway, so he was an amateur dentist. He liked to practice dentistry on live people,
and that
was the only way to do it.
That does not sound fun.
But for their benefit, obviously, not his.
For the benefit of mankind.
Yeah, because if you have a rotten tooth, that ought to be removed. But to learn how to do that, you may need to remove some good teeth too.
On the way to that answer, Ned said 22,000 people died building the Panama Canal.
Uh-huh. Okay, interesting. So, maybe St. Petersburg was 200,000 then.
These innovations have a toll.
That was a lot further back.
People died building the Empire State Building. I mean, this happens.
It does. And people died in World Trade Center 7. Oh, no, they didn't. That's right.
Well, is this something that people are just missing at this point? Is that life is dangerous and this concept that you could ever be fully protected is a farce?
Well, people die as part of life, usually, kind of a thing.
There are discrepancies on St. Peter's, but
okay.
Emily says between 30,000 and 100,000 is the...
All right, fair enough. So between 20 and 200, close enough.
It's in there, yeah.
A lot of people died. So there was definitely some issues there. He was very much a Europhile and forced all of the what would you call them? Minor royalty, the
hoi polloi.
Well, the people that were, I guess,
the upper crust.
No. Well, I guess it would be the upper crust. Yeah, but basically, people in the court, people that were at court, had to shave. He got rid of the longstanding Russian tradition of never shaving your beard.
Oh, you do not like that.
I'm saying Peter the Great was not necessarily the great for everybody.
He was not so great. He was anti-beard.
He was anti-beard and pro-dentistry. What the hell, man?
Well, the pro-dentistry stuff is okay. Once you weren't the guinea pig, then it was okay.
Yeah, once you weren't the guinea pig.
Well, you were the one that said that. Were you the one that the Novocaine doesn't work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Novocaine does not work on me.
See, there you go. There's reasons why you distrust the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
No, little Gina, that doesn't hurt at all.
Exactly.
You're like, let me tell you, dude, it hurts.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't be feeling anything. All right, sure, I can hold on, huh? I can hold on.
I'm surprised you never punched a dentist out.
What makes you think that?
Maybe you have. Okay, there's a story there.
Mm-hmm. So, but as time went on, and obviously because he modernized Russia in a lot of ways, he brought a lot of European techniques, inventions, cultures to Russia. French really became the second language of Russia during his time. There were a lot of changes. And of course, he moved the capital from Moscow to St. Petersburg after getting it built. It's kind of like Washington, D.C. I guess Washington, D.C. technically was also built on a swamp.
Yeah,
the Delaware River.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how many people died. That'd be another good question to look up. How many people died building Washington, D.C.? Same kind of deal. It was a city that was pre-planned and created on paper first before it was ever built. Same thing with St. Petersburg. It was not a random city. It was a city that was pre-planned and built. Its still called at this point the Venice of the North. It is a city with a lot of canals going through it because it was built on the delta of a river. I remember taking the hydrofoil at about 100 miles an hour. Well, it's probably less than that. It's probably 100 kilometers an hour. Taking the hydrofoil from one island to another in St. Petersburg. There's a lot of things that can, in retrospect, be attributed to him that are great, making him great. But I don't know that he was necessarily a good guy to be living through his reign.
So do you believe this stuff that Biden, or that's one of those slips there, that Putin is ill and that he's really just trying to cement his legacy, that he knows his time is getting short. So this is a last ditch effort to go down as somebody that is
are we talking about Biden or Putin?
No,
here?
Putin. I just don't. Got Breitbart
I'm pretty sure
open
Biden realizes that he's almost dead.
Well, I don't think he does. Well, the only reason
he may be past realizing he's almost dead.
I blame the Biden slip on the headline on Breitbart that is ice cream prices sky high. Maybe Joe will finally know.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah, if the ice cream prices go up, what's Joe going to do, poor guy?
Yeah, like he walks into a 7-Eleven, like, gonna need to buy some Ben and Jerry's. Yep. I don't know.
Yep.
No, it's inflation blowout. Soars to 8.6%, highest in 41 years. Thanks, Joe.
41 years. So was that Carter?
Yeah, 79.
See, this is total bullshit because we were already higher than Carter if you look at shadow stats as of February.
Yeah, this is all just catching up.
And now even their phony baloney completely changed stat numbers have apparently caught up.
They're like, no, we thought this was going to get better in May. It didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's U.S. is heading down a road of pain at this point, which is very unfortunate because I live here.
The divisiveness is still happening. All you're going to see now, again, it's funny. This was all timed perfectly for the midterms coming up, and I don't think it's really going to do much for the midterms. But all of this January 6th crap. It's like, we're gonna push that these Republicans are all evil white supremacist Nazis.
Well, yeah, but now they're. I think it's going to be harder for the Democrats at this point to push the fact that everybody's friends with Putin because so many of these Republicans have out-democrated the Democrats in anti-Russian sentiment.
Yeah, White House climate advisor. Misinformation is absolutely a public health threat. You watch for this now. You saw what they did to you with COVID, which was a public health threat. What they forced people to do, businesses to shut down. You can't leave your house. Now climate is going to have that same vibe. No, You can't go. You think you can drive your car on the weekend? No. Saturdays and Sundays, no cars for you. You stay home.
Well, I mean, that's going to be a voluntary action anyway, because who the hell can afford $18 per gallon gas?
Well, true. This is the horrible thing about this. We were told for a long time that it was all just going to be nudge, nudge, nudge. We're never going to make it illegal for you to drive a gas-powered vehicle, but when gas is $5,000 a gallon, you'll stop. And we're not going to make it illegal to own a 9mm handgun, but we're going to put a $5 a bullet tax on the ammunition. This is all the kind of stuff. Well, we're staying within the lines of legality of the constitutionality. It says nothing about taxing you up the ass.
It doesn't say anything about taxing you at all, in fact. So why the hell do we have tax?
Ooh, that's a good question. Is it time to stand up and say no?
It sure seemed like the powers that weren't specifically allocated to the federal government in the Constitution were reserved for the states. Or am I wrong about that?
No, I mean, this was pretty clear. I can
see states having taxes, and you can pick which state you want to live on based on what kind of taxation they have.
Right, use your feet, which a lot of people have done recently.
A lot of Californians have done to Austin at this point.
Welcome to Texas, which means sooner or later they'll have the politicians they want in Texas that can then make the same mistakes California did. So everybody then leaves Texas to go where? Mexico? Maybe.
Yeah, West Virginia. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, Kentucky,
Florida. But I mean, sooner
Florida,
or later, that's going to get
sooner
overloaded.
or later. Florida will absolutely flip. Yeah. Well, as soon as the massive amount of Ukrainian refugees arrives in Florida, and of course they're told to only vote Democrat because Republicans all love Putin.
Is that true? I didn't know.
That Republicans love Putin? I don't know. I mean, I don't really think there's a whole lot of people in America that love Putin.
I think that's the biggest problem with this.
It kind of is. More people ought to love Putin.
With the Ukraine thing is.
There's your opening quote right there, by the way.
Okay, now let me see. Time code.
Time code.
Can I just hit M? Oh, yeah, and then a marker just shows there. I should do that through the whole show. That would make more sense.
You could even do chapters at that point.
Right. Why would we want to?
Because God knows you have access to some chapter creation app thing.
It's a great piece.
Mm-hmm.
Put together by Ryan Bemrose.
Oh, really? You don't say.
Doesn't even charge for it. Smart guy.
Oh, that's actually... Why is he not charging for that?
I don't know. It's this open source mentality.
Of, we just flew over Texas in case anybody's interested.
Bomb them!
We just flew over Texas and the Mexico border, and now we're coming up to New Orleans, and then we're going to be crossing Florida shortly.
But I think politically, the Ukraine thing has more or less disappeared here in the United States for one simple reason, Gene.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
People agree on both sides. I mean, there are some outliers, but overall, the left and the right agrees Ukraine good, Russia bad.
Yeah.
And the subjects that people agree on are not good for the narratives for the people in power here.
That's true.
So
you don't want unity, you want division.
Right. Which actually makes a lot of sense. It's not that the attention span, which is bad as well. That's not necessarily, though, that the attention span is keeping Americans from caring about Ukraine because it's so many days into it.
Well, here's the fun part is that we're going to have Russia owning Ukraine after the U.S. is sending $40 billion to Ukraine / Russia.
So you mean all of these weapons that are still on the ground, Russia's just going to be like, hey, thanks.
Oh, but weapons too, but I meant cash. But yeah.
Cash money? But to be fair, American dollars, not really worth anything.
Well, they're getting there. I mean, they're certainly worth a lot less rubles these days.
Crypto crashing yet again?
Yeah, I keep getting pop-ups on my phone about the crypto going down.
Yeah. Yeah, Coinbase.
Hey, man, buy low, buy in the dip.
But it's
that's why I hear.
Yeah, I still say it's a very weird thing because if you knew what you were doing, and I don't, you would be able to make some money here because this has been nonstop.
You know, the real problem with the price of crypto, specifically Bitcoin, crashing like this?
What is it?
It's going to get to a point where no more Bitcoin will be created by the miners, which means that the blockchain itself is in jeopardy because it's not profitable to create Bitcoin because it costs you more in electricity than how much the value of that Bitcoin is if it keeps going down.
I believe that. I mean, I know.
The only reason that Bitcoin, sorry to interrupt, is the only reason Bitcoin was able to be created back, say, 5-10 years ago, let's say 10, when it was worth, $1 instead of what it is right now, was because, which is what, I think, 230,000 or somewhere around there.
Bitcoin's worth about 30,000 now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, back when it was worth $1, the complexity of mining it was much lower. So it took a lot less electricity. And even then is about when yours truly here decided that, well, this is a racket. I'm paying more for electricity than I'm making off this stupid Bitcoin thing. Why bother?
Right.
That's when I stopped mining. But,
well, that is way better than having a hard drive with 5,000 Bitcoin that you just threw out because it was worth nothing.
Oh, I did that after the Bitcoin that I mined. Sure. That hard drive never had anything spent. Which
explains why a lot of Bitcoin
it wasn't 5,000 for me. I think I had a total of 5.
Which you're still like, that hurts.
I mean, at its peak, 5 would have definitely put me into the millionaire bracket.
I mean, well, the highest was what, 60 grand?
So for Bitcoin? I thought it was more than that. I don't
No, it
know.
was
Somebody can look it
60-something.
up. Somebody can tell us what did Bitcoin peak at?
It was 60 something, but to be two things. One, I know the White House just put out a statement on crypto. I haven't had a chance to dissect it, but that's always maybe one of the reasons why this thing is crashing today. Because otherwise it's been doing the up and down thing. And my point was, if you knew what you were doing, because every day is either Bitcoin and most of the shit coins with it are either up about 5 or 6% or down about 5 or 6%.
Yeah, there's a lot of volatility.
So if you know when it's down 6% to buy, and then when it's up 6% to sell, you do this every day, you can do well. And a boostergram with a very important question from Amducius. Do the bitches like Sir Gene's beard? So what are the reactions you get from women you've dated? Does anybody
very positive? Dude. You know who likes my random people that like my beard? I mean, I get compliments from men and women, but
okay, how many times?
The biggest group is black women.
Interesting.
They want to touch the beard.
I saw a post from a guy the other day wearing a Loop 97.9 t-shirt, which is the big Chicago radio station here. And they're in Alaska. And they're like, multiple times people have yelled Johnny B when they saw the t-shirt. And for Jonathan Brandmore, I want to know how many people see you and yell ZZ Top. Anybody?
I've been asked that question a few times. It doesn't happen very often. I mean, there's a lot of people that have beards in Austin.
Okay, that also helps. If you're not just one, one outlier. If there's a lot of people with that look, then less people are going to comment about it. You are Austin's known to be a weird town.
Yeah, it's getting less weird and more Californian, which is in itself is kind of weird, I guess. But Austin used to be sort of challenging Portland for the keep Austin weird, keep Portland weird thing. I think Austin technically had that first, but Portland did a much bigger campaign for marketing on it.
And they got way weirder.
And they got, they claimed to be way weirder. And then they just got depressing because they started burning cars and shutting down buildings.
Yeah, that's beyond weird. That's just...
that's not weird. That's just bad.
Yeah, that's the Wild West. That is lawless. That is...
Well, it'd be the Wild West if the townsfolk got together and hired a sheriff, which they didn't do in Portland. They, in fact, fired the sheriff.
But you saw, I mean, again, I'm just going by some of the great Western movies and television shows.
Mm-hmm.
There was a theme of a town being overrun by outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened.
It was one of the most common themes in 1960s television.
It's like, who is going to save us? Why didn't this get us ready for what's happening here to be like, maybe we don't want to let the outlaws take control of our city?
Well, you see, the outlaws have to take control of the city for a while in order to motivate the people to actually do something about it.
That's true. And that the backlash that should come.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping it's getting here soon. Because there's a lot of backlash that's due at this point.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of backlash.
There's some lashing of the back, that's for sure.
People need to stand up. Have their voices heard.
Well, you think they do, but remember, Joe Biden is the most popular president in the history of the United States.
Nobody's saying that. His approval rating is like 30%.
No, I can say that because more people voted for him than any other president in the history of the United States.
Some people would argue with that, Gene, and say he got more votes, but more people didn't vote for him.
Well, fair enough, but but you have to admit that at least he got more votes than anybody ever in the history of the United States.
He did. Good old Uncle Joe.
Yeah, way more than that Putin lover, Trump.
The real question is, which family is more corrupt, the Biden family or the Putin family?
I think it is definitely the Hillary family.
Oh, the Hillary family. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's waiting to swoop in. Maybe she can run.
Are also much better at deleting evidence than any other family.
Well, she put all of her servers in the Ukraine. She was smart. She knew where they could be to be.
She did that, and then she hired a Ukrainian security firm to do the analysis of her server.
But let's trust the Ukrainians. They're perfectly fine, good people, every last one of them. Not one bad Ukrainian in the bunch.
Yeah, you know what? It just occurred to me that I haven't brought this up, but it's actually a great analogy. Is you remember watching the first Star Wars movie?
Yes, I do.
I mean, episode 1, not episode 3.
You mean not episode 4?
Not
which
episode
came out
4.
in 1977.
Yeah. I mean,
that I remember.
1.
I saw the original Star Wars.
Okay, I don't care about that. Did you see episode 1?
Yes, I don't remember seeing it.
You remember
though. Tatooine, yes. When,
the planet, right?
Yes, where they're having the race with the little things.
Yeah. Do you remember where the kid was working?
Young Anakin was working like in a junkyard.
Yeah. It was more of a stolen stuff yard.
Well, that too. It just looked like a junkyard.
Yeah. Well, that's Ukraine.
Yeah, you know what? You got a point.
Uh-huh.
We gather all this stuff. We gather our booty in the desert. We gather the booty, and then people come buy the booty. People like the booty.
Yeah, they do like the booty, and they like watching spectacles and stuff on TV as long as they're going their way. Which, of course, Ukraine did not win the hockey. What am I thinking? The soccer, whatever. I think they were in.
Was it the World Cup, something like that?
Fourth place. They were runner-up, kind of, or not even the runner-up, but
they
were.
They didn't give them the win just because
they
were
give
Ukrainian?
them the win. Scotland, I believe Scotland was the evil country that didn't give Ukraine the win.
No, those horrible Scots people. I mean, they actually competed and then just lay down and be like, "Oh, you're Ukrainian."
And it was even worse because the Ukrainians scored a goal against themselves.
I can see that in
it
hockey.
would be hard for the Scot people to counter that without looking obvious.
Yes. I mean, we
scored 2 goals against ourselves. Whoops.
I could see a puck going in hockey. It's way harder to do with a ball.
Well, they managed it. The Ukrainians have special talent there.
They have special powers.
Ukrainian people are lovely people. They make great food. They create wonderful females to marry.
Oh, yeah. There was an article in this. I wanted to know, because the only reason I saw this is because Jimmy Dore covered it. And I don't watch his show, but I saw a link to this.
Yeah, he's one of those liberal comedians, isn't he?
He's a liberal who is doing the streaming YouTube stuff covering news now.
Yeah, which a lot of comedians seem to be doing these days.
And he very rightfully pointed out a story which was a dude in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
A guy's was like with his girlfriend for like a year or more, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they took in a Ukrainian refugee, a young girl. When I say young, I mean like 20.
Right. I bet you I know where this is heading.
Yeah. And like a week into this, the guy left his girlfriend for the Ukrainian.
Obviously.
And, one, makes perfect sense. But 2,
totally.
Jimmy Dore had a question which I should have come up with immediately, as well as anybody who listens to this show, No Agenda, Planet Rage, all of this. Jimmy Dore's like, who cares? Why is this in the news? How does this bring a narrative further? And what narrative does this help? And I couldn't figure it out. Because,
it's nice that he's saying that, but he's also spending his show talking about that same exact thing.
Right. Oh, exactly. But in questioning,
so he had to answer the question for himself then.
But
why are you talking about this, Jimmy?
But what narrative? Because, he was questioning what narrative it helped, and I really couldn't figure that one out because there's no clear side of this. It's like, well, this shows that maybe bringing Ukrainian refugees into your home is a bad idea if it's
responsible for more divorces. Yeah.
Right.
If more people were just into threesomes, I don't think this would be an issue.
That would everybody just get a Ukrainian girl. It'll just be fine.
Adopt a Ukrainian girl like in her 20s, not a young girl.
Yeah, want to be very clear.
Get a Ukrainian au pair, even if you don't have kids.
Right, she'll be very happy to live.
She'll be happy to not be bombed, and therefore will be happy to do whatever you need her to do.
Is this really the ultimate way to get women? Like, you don't want to die, you'd rather be with us.
Well, that's usually how it works. But you figure it works.
By being an upstanding individual with much to offer?
Well, I guess for lesbians, maybe, I don't know. But
scintillating conversation.
Hey, I'm a guy who will protect you when shit hits the fan. You should marry me and stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, so there is one other thing that is happening right now unrelated to Ukraine. I know people love hearing the Ukraine news coming from me, but there are other things happening, and that is that Tim Pool got swatted for the 10th time.
Wow. We're in the double digits now.
Yeah, double-digit swatting. And the show in the middle of a live stream.
Well, see, that is the whole point, isn't it? That
the
people want to watch live
for 3 hours while he wasn't there.
Well, wait, what took 3 hours this time?
Thousands of dollars. What?
Oh, I see. You know what? He could just get up and walk away and be like, okay,
exactly.
send money.
That's what they did, is they renamed the stream to, like, empty studio stream or something.
Wait. Okay. What? So we're just going to, let's just broadcast silence and be like, we're getting swatted. Send boostergrams now. And then just.
Yeah. If you have the audience to do it, which he obviously does, that's certainly a thing. And then I don't know if you know the video channel, The Quartering. Jeremy something runs that. It started off as like a comic book and movie review channel-ish kind of thing, but Jeremy has become more political lately and become friends with some of the folks on the right side of the spectrum, or at least the libertarian side. And so he had donated a few $100 to Tim's channel, I think $500 or something like that, during the swatting, talking about how this is bullshit and the swatters are just pussies, and you should buy his brand coffee that he makes.
Of course.
It's called Coffee Brand Coffee, which I love that name. That's wonderful. We should be sponsored by them, but we're not.
It is a brand that makes you think of coffee.
It is a neat branding when you have branded coffee. But shortly after doing that, like the next day, Jeremy got swatted.
And did he make a bunch of money too?
I think so.
Swatting for profit?
He got swatted, and there were 20 cops that in SWAT suits driving and an armored vehicle on his front lawn that came over to SWAT him and put him in put him in cuffs, threw him on the ground, threw him in the back of a police car, and then went in and got his wife, put her in handcuffs, put her in the back of a police car. And the whole reason they were there was because they got an anonymous tip that said that he just killed his wife.
Wait. So once they took the wife out in handcuffs.
But they decided it'd be better to put her in, and then they went through and searched their whole house.
To make sure there wasn't a dead wife
while
besides
he was
the
saying,
wife.
I do not consent to a search of the house. So I don't know, maybe they thought he had multiple wives and they needed to check that all of the wives were not dead, maybe.
Well, I'm sure I understand maybe they didn't know what his wife looked like, but
so
she had
then
ID,
Jeremy from The Quartering was on a show last night called what the hell is that show called?
Oh, I love What the Hell Is That Show Called? It's one of my favorites.
Well, I know. I figured you'd probably be watching the What the Fuck Is That Show Called? It's
I watch it right after Bob's the Burger every week.
Bob's the
Burger. It's when a guy puts some like ketchup and mustard and buns on himself, and he calls himself the Burger. That's why it's Bob's the Burger.
Well, I figured it was something like that. I don't watch Bob the Burger, but I figured it would be something like that. No, the show that I'm thinking of is called it's a lawyer show, legal show, lawyer show that's done by a guy in Minnesota. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my God, what the hell is it called?
It's a lawyer show that's done by a guy in Minnesota.
He kind of got famous. The lawyer dude guy that got famous. Ricketta Law. That's what.
Oh, okay, right.
You've seen that, right?
Yes,
yeah. Minnesota dude, lawyer.
My buddy Larry from PlanetRage.show. He's been on his show a few times. He's their buddies.
What? You're kidding?
No, him and Ricketta are buddies.
You're kidding? How does Ricketta actually hear him talk?
I don't know. He must have a filter.
That is insane. Well, I think Ricketta is really a neat lawyer. He swears like a sailor. And so Jeremy was on his show talking about the ordeal. And as he's talking about their ordeal, Jeremy gets swatted a second time while he's on Rekieta Law.
Wow.
And so he has to go and deal with the cops. And while Rekieta Law is waiting for Jeremy to get back, Rekieta Law gets swatted.
This is not funny at this point.
It's apparently really easy to do. And you just, pick your random YouTuber that you want to swat and you hit a button and you get them swatted. It seems like that's all it is.
Well, they're using the fact that when somebody calls this into 911, you can't ignore the threat, because if it's real this time, then you've got a lot to answer for. And I guess 911 calls can still be made from burner phones that are bought with cash.
I think this is the deal. This is what they're going to have to change for 911 calls. They're going to have to call you back. You can't just be on the phone and talk to them. And they're probably not going to let you report a crime somewhere unless your phone is also broadcasting those same coordinates from its GPS.
That makes a certain amount of sense, but we do know lives have been saved from people watching.
Well, I guess those people just have to die at this point.
Well, that's
It's really annoying having people getting swatted.
No, I would agree. But there have been cases
make some money for them, but
of people streaming live on YouTube or Facebook or wherever that are obviously suicidal, and people report it.
That's not a reason to save somebody, by the way.
Because they're suicidal, you say just let them go.
Because you're preventing them from doing what they want to do. Yeah, that's a horrible reason to save somebody.
But that's
not a saving. That's interference.
Wow. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
Gene at SirGene.com.
Absolutely. I've talked about this topic if you would have listened to my podcast, Sir Gene Speak.
What, you still do that show? Damn, I need to catch
weekly,
up.
Yeah.
Really?
Amazing.
No, it's not weekly. It's like every third month.
Weekly. It's absolutely weekly.
But yeah, I think you have a point with the GPS should be in the general location of the thing you're reporting.
Yeah, because they're all doing it from, like Ukraine and stuff. And I'm only half kidding. They're all numbers coming in that can be tied back to European phone numbers.
And the question is, how many phones out there are untraceable burner phones? At the very least,
none.
There's some. Well, not. It depends what you mean untraceable.
From the factory.
For somebody that's been multiply swatted, I would think at some point there should be something that says, well, what number is this coming from? Is this a verified number? And, you should know the number.
Here's the other thing that could happen here is we could end up with an increase in private police forces because,
I'm betting Tim Pool is hiring a few people.
He has got multiple people now that he's hired to be security on the grounds, and the police now talk to them first. Do not interrupt the show, but again, it all depends on the quality of the swatting call. And if it sounds genuine, they're going to be more likely to want to pursue it. But after a while, 10th time,
right.
You really got to wonder, the cops have got to be going there assuming it's a swatting.
But what I want to know is the audio of these calls available?
It should be eventually with the Freedom of Information Act. I don't think they published the audio initially for, ongoing investigation reasons.
But they should, just to let people know what kind of stuff is going on, and also the entertainment value, because I want to know how believable it was, and I would also fall into a lot of the arguments of how believable does it have to sound, because even if it doesn't sound believable, what if it is?
Yeah.
When you're abusing an emergency system like this, but here is very much, this is right in the line of exactly everything I've said about gun crime. If somebody swats a house, it should be minimum jail time. It's a minimum a year in jail if you get caught doing this.
It is attempted murder.
Yeah. Well, you should get a minimum jail term.
But you can't find the person doing the swatting. That's the issue.
Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't.
Well, and you usually can't. There was a guy that was a streamer on Twitch that was killed by a SWAT team entering because he was playing Call of Duty when they came about.
Nice.
And so they heard the shooting, and then they, broke down the door, got in there, and were yelling at this guy to put his hands up.
But of course, he had his headphones on, like I do
and
right
he
now.
had his headphones on, and then he's like, just getting pissed off that somebody just broke his door down.
Which one would be?
And then as soon, like when he didn't raise his hands, there's a bullet from a sniper to his forehead, and he was down.
Now, why in this level of day and age can you not track some of this stuff down? Or is it, again, if it's just because it's a burner phone and
it's not they quit saying burner phone. Burner phone has nothing to do with that. These are all closer to, but not actually Google Voice numbers. These are virtual phone numbers of somebody sitting on their computer, routing it through multiple countries to come in to wherever they're targeting, so that their actual identity is completely covered up. It could be somebody literally sitting down the block doing this. Could be somebody halfway around the world. But they're taking enough precautions in the routing of that VoIP number that it's untraceable.
It is dangerous.
You don't need a physical phone to do this. In fact, I guarantee
you could be a virtual burner phone. I get it. Just the concept of an unattachable to a person phone number.
Yeah.
It's dangerous
which
stuff.
Is not hard to do if you've played with Asterisk at all, which is a
open source
PBX phone system. You can customize all the fields. They can make it seem like it's returning the name and location of somebody that's your neighbor. But meanwhile, you just set it up on somewhere in
you get
Nigeria.
To fake that caller ID.
Yeah, exactly. Caller ID is not actually caller ID. It's a caller courtesy. Caller ID courtesy is what it is.
Yeah, do not believe what's on your caller ID.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a few people to thank with donations for today's show.
What?
Yeah. Ooh. I know that is a surprise. I mean, it doesn't quite reach Grumpy Old Ben's levels. But
I wouldn't expect it to. I mean, the level of grumpiness on that show was...
It's not quite rock and roll pre-show levels, but Joshua...
should we move to a lunchtime slot? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
That, to me, sounds like the way to get that kind of donation. When people listen...
We do the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. slot. I mean, hey, we could do that, but you wanted the smooth Sir Gene 9 a.m.
I do like doing these more in the morning than the afternoon. Yeah, I feel like my voice is a little more relaxed. It hasn't been stressed out by all the yelling at people throughout the day.
True. We get you early.
You do.
Joshua McLean comes in with $25. He says, from Bryan College Station, Texas, unrelenting is my new drinking buddy. So we hope he's not listening at 9 a.m.
I kind of hope he's not drinking at 9 a.m. That's for sure. Yeah. I think he's going to be a guest on Sir Gene Speaks.
Well,
just waiting for him to buy a microphone.
And in that case, it may be drinking at 9 a.m. That would be the way to go. Come have a drink with Sir Gene.
Yeah. But he's a big supporter. He supports both this show and
Sir Gene Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Available in all finer podcasting apps right now. Josh Mandel coming in with 12.34. That is appreciated. And Bully Steed coming in at $6.96. She also donated to the Grumpy Old Bens and has been. So now, I mean, we appreciate the support on all of these shows.
Absolutely. We just found out because I wasn't paying attention that we are paying $50 a month for this wonderful software that we're using so you can watch spaceships.
That we're not using.
We're using that we don't need to use. We don't need it.
Way overpriced. And I was looking, there are other alternatives.
It's always been overpriced. It's just when we were thinking of doing the green screen thing and it seemed like, well, this is probably the best way to do it. That's what everybody uses. Literally all the shows I watch that have people talking, except for Tim Pool.
You can tell right by the text and stuff.
Exactly.
That
You can totally tell they're using StreamYard. StreamYard's the company. Obviously more professional productions like Tim Pool, they're using OBS.
Yeah, they have their own, and it's all run from their own servers, and it's all nice and You know,
well, Lydia is producing it. You know, like you can see her talking occasionally, but she's the one manning the control of the video cameras and the audio.
But we appreciate everybody, even listening.
We don't have a producer. I mean,
we are the producers.
Unless you count Daryl, you know.
Leave us a 5-star review. Tell a friend about the
reviews
show.
Are bigger. People don't realize this, but like, if you don't have $1 or $2 to donate, which most of you don't, we know that less than 1% donate.
Thanks to Uncle Joe.
But a lot of you can leave us a 5-star review on the whatever platform you're currently on, whether it's Apple or Google or whatever that the shows are coming from, because that costs you nothing. And shows that have a lot of good reviews start becoming recommended.
Yes, they pop up in those lists, and you get a little bit more of a exposure that way. And that way, bring in new people, and then they can donate.
We want to hit that top 25 Russian propaganda shows coming out of Midwest.
We love the Russian propaganda.
Yeah, well, now you sound like a Polish person.
Oh, is that bad? How does the Russian sound?
They don't usually love the Russian propaganda if they're coming from there.
Give me a good Russian accent.
Well, that would be a Boris and Natasha accent, if you recall that show.
Yes, I do.
Rocky and Bullwinkle. It's a very, very genuine, realistic accent.
Right. So if you go to Russia, you'll be like, wow, I'm in a Bullwinkle cartoon.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. All the men are short and all the women are tall and hot.
Well, okay, the tall and hot women thing from a lot of Russian women I've seen, absolutely true.
Mm-hmm. They wear heels, yes.
And I mean, to be fair, I mean, you're kind of short. I mean, you're not Boris short.
Here we go. Why do I have two fucking co-hosts here that keep ragging on my ideal human height?
Do you have the Boris hat and coat? So I mean, that's what I'm wondering.
I did go as Boris one Halloween.
And wait, I'm remembering.
Actually, I think Adam should remember that because that was a Halloween that we were at the same party.
Wow, and hopefully there are photos. But did Boris have a beard? I'm not remembering a beard.
No, Boris had a goatee thing.
Okay, right, but not a long beard. He just had the little right, the evil little goatee look, which is why I picked out. I mean, that's why I chose the goatee.
Yeah,
and then this was always the bad sign because for years, I mean, I never grew any kind of facial hair till after I was married.
Right.
And then I started with
you didn't come into testosterone until you're married.
Well, that's probably true. That is probably true. But then did the goatee, and I shaved it off once, and my wife was like, I don't want to see more of you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised myself.
My wife never liked facial hair. She always preferred when I was clean shaved.
Oh, well, see, this is exactly why this relationship didn't work then.
I know. I think that's exactly right. Because clearly a good, proper wife would have preferred me to be long bearded.
Gene's like, I could either keep the wife or the beard.
Well, that's not even a good choice.
we know which way I'm going to
go on that.
Yeah, there's no question
which
one out there. But that's why, I mean.
Well, she didn't do stuff that I preferred. So why would I do stuff she prefers?
Well, that makes sense. It is a two-way street.
Yeah. Like I really liked her as a blonde. She was more fun.
So wait, okay, just her changing the coloring of her hair. Her personality changed with that?
Oh, totally.
Or just your perception?
Oh, no, she got hotter for sure.
The article in the Daily Star
today?
You
went from the girl next door to the girl you want to do next door. Yeah.
The Daily Star, some really breaking news today. Sex helps men live longer.
Well, we know that.
So, I mean, now that's a perfect reason for guys to be like, honey, you want me to live longer, right?
Then why don't we get a Ukrainian girl to live with us?
Right. Okay.
If you want me to live longer.
Right. Oh,
that's where you were going with this, I'm sure.
Well, see, this is how you pitch it then. It's the wife doesn't want to have more sex, and you're like, but you want me to live longer. We need a Ukrainian girl.
It's not that the wife doesn't want to have more sex. It's just who she wants to have it with.
Right. Does not want to have it with me. Damn. That's always that. They did a study. This is always with British people. 10-year follow-up conducted in South Wales. The relationship between frequency of orgasms and mortality. Although the study took place from 1979 to 1983, so I don't know how.
Why are they writing about it now? Or are you just reading about it now?
It's like a 10-year follow-up. Yeah, I don't know why this is news today.
People in Wales are living under perpetual rain and speak Welsh.
So you stay inside a lot.
Don't really have technology. So I'm not sure if that study is truly valid.
It's way different here in the first world.
Yeah.
But you know what the bright
Wales
side of that is?
Arguably not the first world.
Well, the bright side of that is we're going to be third world, if not fourth world, really soon.
Well, by definition, we can only be first world because the first world is defined as the West.
So we will always be the horrible racist folk that we are.
Yeah. The second world is the commies, which used to include the USSR and China and a number of African states. And then the third world is everybody else because they're all just kind of unaffiliated. Third world doesn't just mean poor country. It means an unaffiliated country.
Well, we are not unaffiliated here.
No, we're just unrelented.
Unrelenting.
What, we're done? You're wrapping up already?
Isn't it? I mean, wait. I thought you had like work to do today. Is that not true?
I do have work, but I mean, I didn't think we were done. You didn't really indicate we were done.
Well, I mean, we are at over the post 2 hour mark.
Oh,
are we going for bonus? See, this has been so scintillating. You don't even know what time it is.
I've only done 2 trips around the Earth so far. So.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Russians bombed Poland?
The Russians never bombed Poland.
And it ain't over now. Because when the going get tough,
the
tough get going.
But the NATO did bomb Serbia.
I believe it. NATO's awful.
NATO is horrible.
Anybody.
Yeah. It's a warmongering organization created to simply
get rid of Russia.
Well,
when Russia became our friends
to get rid of Russia, it was there to get rid of the USSR, which was successfully done.
But it was also then for Russia because when the USSR became Russia and Russia's like, hey, we'd be interested in joining NATO. We're like, no, we're going to need this in a little.
Exactly. Well, the irony is, when the USSR broke up, it wasn't that Russia or USSR became Russia. USSR also became Ukraine.
Yes.
It also became Kazakhstan.
Oh.
It also became Georgia.
A lot of stands.
I mean, these were all countries that were part of the USSR that became standalones.
Thus
and
weaker.
As I pointed out before, anybody said, well, yeah, but Russia was running things. Well, that's total bullshit because if you look at the history of the Communist Party leaders in the USSR, most of them were born either in Ukraine or near Ukraine, just on the other side of the Russian border, or Georgia, like Stalin. These were not people that were coming from Moscow or St. Petersburg. These were not people that were, what you think of when you think of controlling Russia. So it is very much a distinction of communists from all over the Soviet Union that ended up leading the party and thereby leading the country, and not some specific ethnic group, which is the way that, of course, these days it's portrayed.
Well, Russia's a melting pot.
Russia is a melting pot. Russia has, I'm going to get the number wrong, but it's something like 32 languages that are spoken in the country and several hundred distinct ethnic groups.
How many do we need to cleanse?
Apparently all of them.
That's evil.
Well, the U.S. is on the side of Hitler here. So what can I say?
Because Ukraine is just a victim.
Ukraine, Ukraine is a victim, and that's absolutely true because Ukraine is being utilized by certain portions of the pro-war Western apparatus, as well as the pro-money laundering Western apparatus. And the people of Ukraine have just been incidental to it. There's no great love of Ukrainian people here.
Right.
There's great love of the services that Ukraine provides to American politicians.
Ask your average American who is going gaga for Ukraine, like, oh, what's your favorite thing about Ukrainian culture?
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, I don't know. I don't know anything about Ukrainian culture.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you love most about the Ukrainian people? They're not Russians, but they are.
That's exactly it. They are. Yeah. It's literally the same exact genetics. There's no difference between Ukrainians and Russians from any kind of distinctive. I mean,
it's like if
Ukrainians
Illinois
speak a different language. Yeah, they speak a different language, but it's a language that's so close to Russian that any Russian can understand Ukrainian and any Ukrainian can understand Russian.
It's like if we dropped Illinois from the United States.
Yeah.
Still the same people.
Well, yeah, but as far as language, it'd be like taking somebody from, Queens or the Bronx or something and then having them speak with somebody from Appalachia. Like, that's about the difference between Ukrainian and Russian.
The dialects, right?
It's here we would call it a dialect. There they call it a language, but the difference between the two is roughly the same.
And they would understand each other is the point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like if a Russian woman came up to me and was like, would you like to go to bed? I'd be like, well, I don't know. What?
You'd be like, I don't know. Jesus Christ, man.
I'd be like, what did you just say? I need a translator.
It doesn't matter what she said. The answer is you nod your head yes.
That was right. That's it. There was a episode of Coupling, which was a great
That
British
was a
show.
great episode with the Israeli chick.
Yes, where he just totally does not understand what she's saying. And then they do the episode in two parts.
Yeah.
Where you understand.
His and her.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Just the misunderstanding of language is a beautiful thing.
That was a great show. I really enjoyed that show. It captured a lot of the innocence of the just getting to be successful in your career dating life.
Way too short of a series.
All British shows are, except for Doctor Who. Doctor Who hogs all of the British TV shows seasons for itself.
It goes on forever and ever.
Just 50 years. Yeah.
But the
60. It came out in the 1960s, so it's now over 60 years old of Doctor Who.
Yes, Coupling still stands up too. It was not a.
It does. And the actors in that show, I've enjoyed all of them. Gina, what's her face? She was good.
Good old Gina, what's her face?
In that other show, it was great in that other show. About the what's.
Right.
And then
I know the guy that played Jeff was just in one of these, like the big shows here. I downloaded it.
Yeah.
Playing a priest or something. Yeah.
He's done a number of things. No, all of those guys have been in other shows and they were good. But I really liked Gina's character, I think, the most.
And which character was that? I don't know, Gina,
she was the chick that was very
quirky.
Sexual.
Oh yes. The brunette.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm blanking on the name.
I know, right? Exactly.
Jane.
Yes. Good old Jane.
Good old Jane.
Yes. Because she had sex with two of the characters in that show.
I mean, there was a lot of sex going around, but Susan
less sex
also
than
had.
I think there was.
Susan was.
Susan had as well. Yes, that's true.
I mean, Susan was the hot one.
She was you would think she's hot, but I think she was a little boring.
Wow, a little boring. I mean, not reaching quite the level that Sir Gene. So would Beard or her, you're still like Beard. No question.
Beard.
You're just like,
the Beard wins across the board.
This is the new way Gene rates all women. But
there's also, I would say there was a lot more drinking than actual sex in that show.
Oh, there's no doubt, because most of it took place in the bar.
In the pub. Yeah. Including the Israeli girl episode.
Yes, which was beautiful. Sarah Alexander as Susan Walker.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Gina Bellman as Jane Christie.
Yeah, I knew it was Gina.
And Kate Izzet as Sally Harper.
And she was the lesbian of the group.
Oh, of course. So you always need one.
Well, I mean, you kind of end up with them whether you want. Any group of three women, one of those three is the most lesbian of the bunch.
I love these theories. But you're right.
Not a theory.
That's
I'm
how.
just an observer.
If you want to break it down into basically the platform that they had here, that the repeating in every show was either a scene with the three women talking about the guys, the three guys talking about the women, or all six of them together, more or less. And there were variations, but it was really a formula that worked well.
Well, it was called coupling.
Yes, but it was a formula that worked well.
Three couples, basically.
Yeah, but they weren't always together.
They changed around a little bit.
They were all trying to couple.
Yeah. They
just
were
like Ukrainian girls, just trying to couple and find love.
Ukrainian girls don't try.
Ukrainian girls do. There is no try in Ukrainian girls.
No.
There is only do.
Sir Gene's had a few Ukrainian girls, and Ukrainian girls are very special.
Very special. I mean, is there an ethnicity that you prefer over Ukrainian, or is this like top of the?
Hot is good.
Okay, so ethnicity not important, just hot. I get it. But who mainly gets to the top of that scale? Is it the Ukrainian girls? Is it the Russian girls? Is it the American girls? And in the United States, I mean, there's all sorts
of the above, as long as they're hot.
And they like the beard.
Well, I mean, that's secondary, I guess. Whether they like it or not doesn't really matter all that much.
Sir Gene would like to couple with you. Do you like beards? Do you like long walks on the beach where you can carry Sir Gene?
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Just reach out. Gene at SirGene.com.
That's right. Then that will get a response back.
That it will. I mean, it may not be a good response, but a response nonetheless.
Yeah. How did you get this email address?
Fake podcast. Crank podcast.
Crank podcast. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Until we get swatted, we're really not. See, I shouldn't have said
don't
that.
even say that, dude. That's not a fun scenario when you're surrounded by a bunch of guns.
No, not especially when you have your own guns. Then it gets tense.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Tense is not good.
No.
I mean, probably you'd get worse in Austin, but people should just be calm, you know? I mean, I don't understand the concept.
It is lashing out, clearly. I mean, calling in and swatting somebody is absolutely lashing out at a person that you're afraid to do anything
in person, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
it's using the emergency services, the police, as a proxy for lashing out against that person. So not good, obviously. But holy shit, there's 3 asteroids circling Earth right now. Didn't even realize that. Oh my God.
Are you looking at news coverage or a video game, Gene?
Is there much difference these days?
No, you're right. They are pretty much the same stories.
Well, there's the moon. Oh, there's only 2. That's the moon. There's a asteroid XJW-976.
How do I apply to fly drones for the Russian army?
XSR 170. Well, do you read Cyrillic?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, that's the first thing you need.
I got to learn a language?
All the controls are in Cyrillic.
I mean, come on. Why are they so racist?
Why are they so racist?
Yeah. Exactly. Let me fly their drones.
Let's zoom out from the Earth and see what else we can. Oh, there's Mars.
Is this what you do while working too? Just curious.
There's Venus.
You're at a work call and you're like, I'm flying my spaceship.
I am working right now. What are you talking about?
That I believe.
Sadly,
somebody's paying Gene $1,500 an hour to do what he's doing right now.
True story. Series, the asteroid belt. Of course, there's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus.
This bonus time is not very strong.
Pluto. The what isn't?
This bonus time is kind of getting flaccid.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it's time for us to get back to the real work at hand here.
And that is?
When somebody just sent a message.
What does the message say?
You can look.
Is this okay? It's on YouTube. There's always different screens.
It's on YouTube.
Send hookers. Well, if you're going to send hookers and blow.